It's always good to be here in Dubrovnik, and as I was telling this morning to my Croatian colleague in Europe, it's the first time that I experienced this nice weather here. Concerning the question in relation to candidate status, this is something already forgotten in my country, because now we are struggling with the accession negotiations, and we are seeking a recommendation and hopefully also endorsement by EU member states. Having said that, I would agree with those who think that regional development and regional policies and also regional cooperation and these processes is thought to beef up also regional cooperation in our neighborhood, in southern part of Europe, is going hand in hand as a process with EU accession. I would like to build upon those lines that were presented by Commissioner. Why this initiative it's interesting for us? Because it groups 4 member states and 4 non-EU member states, so it's quite flexible in terms of modus operandi. It's based on 3 no's, or no money, no fresh money. So we are quite sober in this respect. Nothing spectacular will happen. No new legislation, and this is very important because we have been already overburdened by EU in terms of formal requirements to improve and in some cases to tighten up the legislation institutional setup stronger than some EU member states. And no new institutions, because there are so many regional initiatives going on, especially after the breakup of former Yugoslavia. And sometimes it's very difficult to count all these initiatives, and one could also question the productivity of those initiatives. So this is how we start. Geographically speaking, Commissioner was quite cautious when she mentioned that she comes from Romania and she's part of this region. But geographically speaking, not all countries that are sitting around this panel have a clear access or a direct access to Adriatic or Ionian Sea. So it's thought to be a little bit deeper than just having access to the sea. And I take this opportunity also to make a plea on other member states, part of this initiative, to include also Macedonia and Kosovo in this initiative. And this would make sense also with the current trend of regional cooperation in our region. One key element that I think we have to work hard is to ensure the territorial cohesion of this initiative. So it's not important to me whether a country has a direct access on Adriatic or Ionian Sea, but it is much more important the territorial cohesion. In order to ensure the territorial cohesion of this initiative, we ought to bear in mind the fact that in our region we are facing large social and economic disparities. Some of these disparities have been mentioned also by colleagues and others in their opening remarks, and it is time to think in a more thoughtful manner about the future. Because if we see nowadays the ratio in terms of assistance and funding between EU member states and enlargement country, the ratio is 4:1, and interaction also with the other initiatives that are going on in the region. And this is very important because we are all facing with infrastructure deficits. We have all been engaged into this Berlin process, and one of the main objectives of this Berlin process is to transform our region in a true region. So it's basically to connect us physically in terms of infrastructure, energy, and to have a spillover effect on other related areas of the economy. And here I see a clear interaction between this initiative and Berlin process. But we need to use our energies in a more productive manner. And the third point, which is very much related also to the efforts all countries are doing in adapting criteria related to acquis that coincide also with the areas of these initiatives. I see this here very well linked, because we're speaking about transport, we're speaking about tourism, we're speaking about business climate and SMEs, and we're speaking also about cultural cooperation. Let me give you one example. If in the Berlin process, one of the main projects that has been already agreed to be endorsed is the Blue Corridor, or the so-called Jonian Adriatic Corridor, that would link Croatia via Bosnia and Montenegro to Albania. This would not be an astute statement, because at the end of the day it will link Slovenia and Croatia, that are already EU member states, with Greece, that is already a member state, through these three other non-EU member states. It will complete at the same time this Mediterranean ring of tourism. So it will have a clear impact on other areas of the economy. And it will coincide, I don't want to sound very visionary here, but it will coincide in a way or another also with what Miro was explaining during his introductory remark, with all efforts we are jointly making in relation to Jonian Adriatic pipeline, how to find the necessary political and financial support to connect Jonian Adriatic pipeline with Trans-Adriatic pipeline, and also the building of the LNG terminals that would ensure an energy diversification of the resources. And this is mutually beneficial for our region and also for European Union. So this is how I see our role in this initiative. Thank you.